Hello, I'm Tim Nichols, and I'm here to give you your Nichols Word. Today we will be featuring Volume 2 of the Kingstone Comic Bibles. This is the second edition, hot off the press. One thing I want to show you is the table of contents. Okay, so let's start over here, and this will be Volume 1. It starts with Genesis, and it takes you through the Psalms. If you want to capture a screenshot of that just so you can look at it, then please, by all means, go to that. But it ends with the Psalms, but keep in mind it only does a few of the Psalms. Now this one is the second volume, and it has its table of contents where it picks up in Kings, and it goes all the way through the intertestamental period. Now that is really cool to have that in comic book form. Now one thing you will need to make sure you understand is that this is not going to have duplicates of stories. For example, there's 4 Gospels. There's 1st, 2nd Kings, 1st, 2nd Chronicles. Those stories are not going to be repeated, so sometimes there's going to be details lost because the artist is choosing and picking which stories he or she wants to highlight and feature. So it will not be an entire Bible. One thing I wanted you to see is check out the temple, or check out the city. And just beautiful artwork, beautiful setup, just everything is just really nice. And this, I thought, was really a nice touch. This is the false gods of the Old Testament. And there's actually several pages of this. So it highlights the false gods of the different nations that Israel faced. And you will notice several, like there's the Babylonian god, Egypt, and you name the countries they faced. And here's another thing I thought was really neat, is it's the kings of Israel in the divided kingdom. So it gives you kind of a timeline of each king from Israel, or from Judah and Israel. And then this is the rulers of Judah during the divided kingdom. So I thought that was a really nice touch, and I thought that was something worth pointing out and noting. One thing you will note is every now and then there's a dividing page whenever there's an important break in a story. And there's also dividing pages when the books are introduced. This is in the story of Daniel, and this is when the 3 guys are in the fire and the 4th man shows up that looks like the Son of God. Nebuchadnezzar, the shock on his face here just really cracks me up every time. And if you go back, you see the fire so hot that it's burning the guys trying to throw them in. So you see Nebuchadnezzar is all wonder, fury. You see all the emotions. It's just really a neat way to read the Bible. And let's take a look at some. This is when Nebuchadnezzar was eating grass, when he was basically denying God. Right here you have the Mene, Tekel, Upharsin, the writing on the wall. Really cool. You can see the defiance in the king's face. You can see the somewhat fear in his face. You can see the skepticism in his wife. So these are just things that you won't get from reading just letters. Then you have the images in Daniel where he sees the beast of the future kingdoms coming up, and it gives you the artist's interpretation of those different animals. Just really remarkable stuff. The prophetic books in here, really, they just stand out. Again, another dividing page, and this one introduces the section of the prophets and the prophetic books and all the imagery and things that the prophets see. You can see this stuff is just designed to make your eyes happy, and they really hit the mark on this. Let's look at a couple more things here. Look at the color, look at the brightness, look at the wonder of this. And this is when Isaiah sees heaven, and I imagine that the facial expressions and the things that he sees, the angel touches the coal to his lips and cleanses him. This is just fantastic. These are the images that Ezekiel sees of the cherubim in heaven. Now, this is a super interesting artist interpretation. Look at the galaxies that are up here. This is just really, really, really pretty. Full, bright, amazing color. Now, this is one thing that I thought was really interesting in this Bible, is whenever it's a prophecy about a future event, they use futuristic images to kind of help you understand. So you see tanks, and you see soldiers, and you see armies, and all sorts of modern things. A couple more things before I run out of time. Check out the throne room here in the Gospel of Matthew. Now, this is a call forward. So a call forward is when a prophecy happens and they move forward to the event it's prophesying about. One more thing, I know I'm just about out of time, but just bear with me. You're going to have to give me a couple extra minutes, is that intertestamental period. and it covers this. It talks about Alexander the Great and what happened there. And I'm just out of time, so we're just going to have to feature another volume later. But this is your Nicholsworth. I hope you enjoyed this review. Keep calm and Jesus on.